Welcome to a special edition of Shred Show where I celebrate not having a boss or an editor who tells me that I can't put bitches in the headline of my video. Today we're talking about a surfboard that I could not be any more excited about. It was designed by Clint Preissendorfer, who received his last name and his shaping skill from his father Rusty, and he also inherited a fashion sense for white crew necks with reading glasses hanging from the collar. You can see Clint surfing his Rusty Blackbird here at a beach break by my house that was really good a couple weeks ago, where Clint is never scared to pull into barrels or dodge drop-in artists who fall from the sky. This is my friend David during the same session, and on this day there was a lot of parking lot buzz about El Nino. Now El Nino is here and it is happening, and we know that because the sea surface temperatures in this part of the world have been warmer than average over a several month period. So if you live in this part of the world where much of Shred Show's audience does, then the associated weather patterns that El Nino affects all over the world might mean more waves and bigger waves than normal between about now and April. But even if El Nino doesn't live up to all this hype in the coming months, it is still winter, and that means bigger waves, bigger boards, and rusty blackbirds. This episode is presented by Fanatic.com, where you can choose different fin sets you want to surf, rank all of your choices, and then receive one of your fin choices in the mail, which you can surf for as long as you want to until you mail them back to Fanatic and receive another one of your fin choices just a few days later. It's that easy to have an unlimited fin quiver with Fanatic because their basic membership is just $9.99 a month, and you can get your first month for free by entering promo code SHRED, that's S-H-R-E-D. You can cancel anytime, so it's risk-free at Fanatic.com. Yes! Dimensions on this Blackbird are 6'10 by 20.25 by 2.8 with 40.7 liters of volume. That is a lot of volume, and if you look at the outline that volume is placed in, you really don't see anything trendy or fashionable of the last few years. The nose is narrow and pointy, the tail is narrow and round. It is a smooth line connecting both those points on the board from forward to back. This type of an outline in a board of this length has probably worked forever, and I have a really hard time imagining this sort of an outline ever not working in the future, no matter what kind of new trends or fads or fashions happen. Even if surfboard shape and design increases by an order of magnitude in its effectiveness to help you have fun surfing, it's really hard for me to imagine a certain subsect of surfers not continuously going back to this kind of an outline, especially in this length of a board relative to your height. The point that I'm trying to make is that if you are inexperienced in choosing between different boards for bigger waves, this outline and this shape and this board already seems like one of the safer decisions that you can make, because there's no exciting new tech built into it, there's no bells and whistles put into the outline. This is something that thousands of surfers it has already worked, and it's worked for a long time. What's different about this board compared to other boards of similar length and outline that have worked for years is the way they've gotten away with placing just a little bit more width in this board throughout the entire thing without changing the way proportionally that width in one part of the board relates to width in another part of the board. When compared with what's been working in step-up boards for so many years, you can understand why this subtle width increase might be important to someone like Clint Preissendorfer, because he's probably like 6'4", 220 pounds, and he likes to get barrels in overhead waves amidst Southern California crowds. Now I know I've already said the word outline like 20 times, but when you have an outline like this that you surf maybe about 5 to 10 inches longer than you are tall, and with about 3 to 5 more liters of volume than you normally would surf, you'd likely find that all the volume beneath your chest does make it easier to paddle than other more narrow step-up boards. But when it comes to actually getting to your feet and surfing, the magic of this kind of simple, proven outline is in the way that it feels much more stable, controlled, and at pace with the wave compared to other high volume boards that are wider than normal, and that's because of the way that this outline places so much of its volume within a very long and narrowing surface as it moves back from center. So it's kind of like you might feel the the best of both worlds. It's easier to paddle without that squirrely kind of out of control feeling that you would sometimes associate with a higher volume board, especially when the waves are powerful. What that might mean for your surfing in bigger waves, maybe 6 to 12 feet, assuming that you're skilled enough and athletic enough and in shape enough to surf waves 6 to 12 feet, because a surfboard is not a life-saving device. But back to the point, what that might mean for your surfing in 6 to 12 foot waves, for example, is feeling like you can paddle into the wave easily and set up your line easily and keep just barely enough speed to stay slightly ahead of critical situations. For example, you might feel as if you don't have to be as vigilantly aware of how the wave is changing ahead of you, and you don't have to be as diligent in your efforts to watch it and then adjust your trajectory accordingly. I think this shape so far seems like something for someone who wants to more safely, or at least feel like they're more safely enjoying the ride in bigger waves. And I'll clarify that by saying that this board is not doing anything fancy within the forward half. For example, it's not doing that whole chop the board and bring it down and have the wide point come up further, for example, like the Rusty Slayer. And what that means is that with this shape, you're not in the same type of danger with going too long in the board and putting the wide point in the board really far ahead of you. And what that means is that the board can scale incredibly well in terms of the different lengths that you're able to surf it. For example, someone like Josh Kerr could surf this board maybe an inch or two longer than their height, while someone like me could surf this at a 6'10" or at a 6'8" or at even a 7'2". The difference in how all those relative sizes would feel to you if hypothetically you could surf 10 different Rusty Blackbirds and find your favorite is the longer board might feel like it's much more directionally stable and solid down the line, like you've just got to drop in and then cruise as you watch all the scenery go on ahead of you and above you. Whereas you surf this at the shorter lengths and it might feel like it can pivot tighter off the bottom and you can turn it tighter off of the top. That makes this shape very versatile and probably accessible for anyone from intermediate to advanced, again, as long as you're comfortable in big waves. Rolled in the front of the board, becoming a single concave, becoming a double concave set within that single concave, just a slight single concave continuing out the last inch or two of the board. If you look at the foil in this board, it looks very conservatively built. You might say it's a little bit full, but still blading out quite a bit towards the tail and blading out towards the nose. The nose rocker looks maybe just slightly lower than average, but the tail rocker looking about like what you would expect in a board this length. In the end, I think that the Blackbird is a very safe choice for anyone looking for a step up this winter. Rusty has been making step ups for waves like Ocean Beach and Blacks and Pipeline and Tavarua for really as long as I've been alive. I've surfed this board in my hands about 4 times in waves ranging from 5 to about 10 feet, and I'm not letting go of this surfboard anytime soon. Shred Nation, that is it for this episode. Drop a comment down below telling us what your favorite board in bigger waves is, and we will see you soon on... This episode was presented by Fanatic.com, where you can choose different fin sets you want to surf, rank all of your choices, and then receive one of your fin choices in the mail, which you can surf for as long as you want to until you mail them back to Fanatic and receive another one of your fin choices just a few days later. It's that easy to have an unlimited fin quiver with Fanatic because their basic membership is just $9.99 a month, and you can get your first month for free by entering promo code SHRED, that's S-H-R-E-D. You can cancel anytime, so it's risk-free at Fanatic.com.